Hey everybody, Kitthesoulless here, and we're going to talk about a couple things that make a lot of people just a little bit uncomfortable. And those are sexuality and hate in the furry community. And since furries are no strangers to hate, we're going to put that one on the back burner and focus on sexuality first. And by sexuality, I don't necessarily mean, gay, straight, bi, or trans. I mean something like the sexualization of somebody's furry persona or fursona. Now, there are a lot of furs that will claim this isn't a thing, especially for them, and especially when it's a suitor. And honestly, I can understand, but I'm gonna call all of you out tonight. Because for each and every person in the furry fandom who has ever looked at furry art and thought, ooh, that looks cute, you are either consciously or subconsciously doing this. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your own persona, but it is definitely somebody's. And yes, I know there's a whole slew of people that get really defensive when you start talking about furries and sex, because we all know that furries and sex don't ever go together for any reason, right? I mean, all of those stories about absolutely disgusting fursuits with matted fur and holes in special places, those are just urban legends. They're something that the media tells to make us look bad, right? Well, I hate to tell you this, but furry sexuality is very much a thing, and it is a very prevalent part of this fandom. It is sort of ingrained in the minds of every furry, both young and old. And that's partly because the hairless apes that are behind the furry fandom, the ones that draw, create, and even wear a lot of these cute little fluff butts, are technically perverts by nature. And honestly, that's okay, because it's part of who and what we are. Now, personally, I don't care if you like leather, if you're into straps, or if your fursuit's a little holier than thou and you like to pray at that particular altar. Hell, you can have a Bad Dragon collection with more gizmos and gadgets than the NRA has guns, and I wouldn't judge, and honestly, neither should anybody else. I'm even okay with people walking around in leashes or harnesses or even a puppy play hood, because this particular community is all about expressing yourself, and that's actually a really good and a really bold way to do it. And so long as you're not doing something like, say, walking out into a public place where you know there's going to be kids around, in nothing but your hood, straps, and a leather thong, good on ya. If you want to flaunt your particular fetish in a way that isn't illegal and doesn't harm anybody, I believe you should be allowed to. But at the same time, please keep in mind, if you go above and beyond and do something like don a full latex horsesuit or go out crinkling, there is inevitably going to be that person that comes up to you and asks, "What the fuck, man?" Now, the best way to deal with this is to try to explain it calmly and politely, and if they get upset with you, just explain that this is part of who you are, and if they don't like it, they don't have to associate with you. Now, along this same line, there are some fetishes that most people aren't going to want to admit they have because they garner a lot of hate both from outside and from inside the furry community. A lot of people think that being into things like ferals or cubs is absolutely not okay, and honestly, I can understand where they see this, and I can understand where they're entirely wrong, too. Especially in a fandom where things like scat, vor, and water sports are very much a thing. Now, let's take a minute to explain, shall we? Let's start with the easier of the two, ferals, because I can see where a lot of people think that this is something really, really bad when really it's not. Now, a lot of people will see ferals and think, oh my god, bestiality, when in reality all it is somebody who wants to express themselves in a more animalistic way. This is probably something that's pretty common as well among people who are into puppy play. Now, on the other paw, there are people referred to as zeta furs, which actually are into bestiality, and honestly, if that's your thing, folks, you do you, I'm not here to judge. Because honestly, there are usually legitimate reasons why people are into this sort of thing, and well, if you think about it, it wasn't too terribly long ago that most people thought being gay was just as disgusting. Now, the other of our two is people who are into cubs, and honestly, this one gets really, really, really complicated. Because a lot of people will see this kind of thing and go, oh my god, that's a kid, whoever's looking at this needs to die because they're a pedophile. Now, first I want to point out that pedophile is not exactly as nasty a term as everybody thinks it is, because this is actually the word for a mental disorder that a lot of people do have, and a majority of the people who actually have this particular mental condition seek help rather than acting out on it. Now, with that said, there's a lot of reasons why somebody would want to depict their personal persona as being young or childlike, and a good number of these reasons are a lot more innocent than you would think. Now, one of the biggest reasons I can see on a personal level is because, folks, it is really fun to be able to let loose and just be a kid again for a little while. I mean, seriously, give it a try. Go swing on a swing or play on a playground or dig into an ice cream bar with no fucks given to just how messy you're about to get. Play with your food from time to time or curl up in your PJs and watch a cute little Disney movie. Do something you would have done when you were 5 or 6 years old, because I guarantee you will have a lot of fun. And since I know this video is going to dredge up the question, yes, yes, I do depict my personas as cubs because I personally am a child at heart. I am a gamer, I love to play video games, I love to roughhouse, I love to go outside and play. I absolutely love letting my mind wander to faraway places, and yes, I do daydream about things like pirates and spaceships and weird things like that I used to do as a kid. For me, a hug is as good as a handshake, and honestly, I like seeing the world from a more innocent perspective from time to time. Cause let's face it folks, our world can be a really fucked up place, and it really sucks to not have an escape from that. And sadly folks, I've actually gotten a lot of flack for the fact that I depict my characters as cubs because of people who cannot see that this is actually a lot more innocent than they think it is. It's a sad truth about our world that there are people that will look for any reason to hate you, even if it means taking something that to you is absolutely innocent and twisting it around in their fucked up minds to fit their chosen narrative. And honestly, here's a good example of what I mean. See, this year at Further Confusion, FC 2018, I was called a Nazi. And why, you might ask? Because when I was in the dealer's den, I refused to take a sticker from a merchant that read, "Nazi furs can go fuck themselves." Now, personally, folks, I try my best to understand people rather than to sit there and judge them. And because I didn't want to take a sticker that feeds into all the social hate that we've been seeing recently, I was deemed a Nazi and, by extension, told to go fuck myself. All of this, mind you, by somebody who is working in the dealer's den, who is acting as a representative for their company, and in a way is also kind of representing the convention and the people who run it as well. But honestly, folks, that's a story for another episode. So, if you enjoy these and want to see more, give us a like. If you want to keep up with our channel and be notified whenever we upload or when we go live, hit subscribe and ring the bell. But for now, this is Kitthesoulless signing off. So until next time, everybody, bye-bye.